My grandmother cut me out of her will because I supported my mom after my dad cheated. She left everything to my brother. Honestly, she can die alone for all I care. Here is the situation. My grandmother, who I call Nana, decided to remove me from her will simply because I chose to side with my mom and move in with her after my parents divorced. The divorce itself was already rough enough. My parents had been married for decades. I never imagined it would end this way. But my dad had been cheating on my mom with his old college girlfriend. My mom caught him a few weeks ago after following him because she was suspicious. He tried to explain, but in the end he admitted he was bored. He said this was not the first time. He confessed to using dating apps in the past. He had hooked up with other women. He claimed those were casual. But this time he said it was different because he had feelings for this woman. When my mom confronted him, he told her everything. He admitted to every affair he had over the years. Even if she had wanted to forgive him, she could not anymore. He destroyed the marriage because he was bored. I know my mom. She has always been a loyal wife and mother. She did everything she could for the family. She never betrayed us. So yes, I think she made the right call leaving him. What shocked me was that my brother chose to stay with my dad. I decided to move in with my mom. Since then my dad has tried to contact me. I have ignored him. I do not want to talk. This created problems with Nana. She is furious that I abandoned my dad. She is punishing me by cutting me out of her will. She plans to leave everything to my dad and my brother. I do not know what she is thinking. It hurts because 2 years ago I was the one who stayed with her when she almost died. She fell and broke her hip. She developed sepsis. She was bedridden for months. At that time I was on a gap year before college. I could have done anything. I chose to take care of her. My dad was too busy with work. My mom and brother could only visit on weekends. So it was me. I read to her. I talked to her. I kept her company. I helped prevent her from falling into depression. She had a nurse, but I was there too. I never asked for gratitude. But being thrown out of her will so easily hurts. She did not even tell me herself. She sent a letter through someone else. She wrote that she was disappointed in me. She said she could not believe I abandoned my dad. She said my brother deserved my share. She said I was not loyal to the family. But what about my mom? Is she not family too? The only person who broke loyalty was my dad. It is ironic that Nana talks about loyalty when her own son could not stay faithful to his wife. I did not want my mom to go through this alone. She is strong, but she did not deserve to suffer alone. I left my comfortable life at my dad's house to be with her. That to me is loyalty. Meanwhile my brother stayed with my dad. Now they act like best friends. But it is because he depends on my dad for money. He has no morals. He has stolen things from our house. He has stolen from Nana. He sold them on eBay. He also has a gambling problem. It started when he was 18. He says he will quit. He never does. My dad told him from the start that he would not bail him out. The first time he got into trouble, my mom and I helped him. Not my dad. After that he kept coming to us until we stopped. So imagine this. After everything, my brother still chose my dad over my mom. Over the last few years he has gotten into a lot of trouble. He developed the habit of stealing anything valuable he could find at home. He sold it to cover his debts. My dad even threatened to call the police a couple of times. He also told him he would throw him out. My brother begged for forgiveness. Then he went back to the same thing. Both of them knew they were too scared of ruining their reputation to actually punish him. He even stole from our grandmother. He took anything he thought had value. Paintings. Jewelry. Expensive decorations. My grandmother noticed things were missing. But my dad wanted to protect her from stress because of her health issues. So we never told her the truth. It would have broken her heart. She was too fragile to know her grandson was stealing from her. She would eventually forget about the missing items. We told her they were in the attic. She usually believed that explanation. In reality, all of it was stolen and sold on eBay. My brother kept the money. It is not like we did not try to stop him. We did. We even said we would report him to the police. But my dad never wanted to do that. He always hoped my brother would change. That meant my brother could keep doing whatever he wanted with almost no consequences. I decided it was time he faced some. After my grandmother sent me that letter, I decided to tell her the truth. I had old photos. I had screenshots of conversations with my brother about everything I mentioned before. I told her her favorite grandson had been stealing from her all along. I told her those things were never in the attic. That was a lie my dad invented to protect my brother. We had all kept up the act to avoid breaking her heart. But after she made it clear she did not care about me, I decided to be honest one last time. If family loyalty was so important, I would show her mine by telling the truth. After I sent that message, my dad and my brother went after me. They said Nana hated hearing the truth. They said I am the most selfish person in the world. They said I do not deserve to be part of the family. Nana is furious now. She says she will cut everyone out of her will and leave everything to charity. She is threatening but has not done it yet. I doubt she will. But they already blame me. I guess she checked the attic and saw I was telling the truth. She realized she had been lied to. This is a huge problem because her estate is worth a lot. My dad and brother do not want to lose it. She is also talking about selling her share of the family business. That would cost them even more. Basically, nothing is working in their favor. They keep telling me I need to fix this. They call my actions petty. But I do not feel like doing anything. I think they deserve it. They are greedy. They are horrible. I feel like I did the right thing. Yes, it hurt my grandmother. But it is not like she did not hurt me first. Just because my dad is her son does not mean she should defend cheating. She could have stayed neutral. Instead, she defended him and attacked me. That is absurd. Edit. Some people seem confused. I will clarify. I am 26 years old. My brother is 24. Yes, we should be living on our own. But we have lived with our parents for years. The house is big. We never saw the point of renting an apartment. Privacy was never an issue. My brother and I had separate sections of the house. We were fine with it. Right now I live with my mom in a rented apartment. But she is going to fight for the house in the divorce. My dad took over my grandfather's company a few years before my brother was born. It is a large company for this city. That is how we have been able to afford our lifestyle. I always thought I would inherit the company one day. At this point I know that will not happen. That is why I studied business management. I have been working with my dad since I graduated. Right now I am basically on a break because of everything happening. I know we should not mix personal life with work. But I cannot avoid it. My brother does nothing. I mean absolutely nothing. He stays home all day. He gambles online. He pretends he is just playing video games. He fights with the family and later makes peace because he knows he has nowhere else to go. My parents would have done something, but they are too distracted by the divorce. That is how things reached this point. I do not say my mom does not care about him. But she has bigger problems right now, so she avoids the subject. My dad was the only one who fought with him directly. Now because my mom and I are a team, my dad and my brother have decided to become a team too. It is an unlikely duo. Both are selfish. Both are cowards. They will stick together as long as it benefits them. Nothing matters more to them than their own comfort. Even if everyone else suffers. Update 1. It has been a week and a half since my last update. I have been busy because I returned to work. I know it is not the best place to be. But until I get fired, I still have obligations. If that happens, I will look for another job. I have worked with my dad since I graduated. I used to believe the company would one day be mine. Now I know it will not. So I treat it like a normal job. If they fire me, I will at least get compensation. That is why I will not quit on my own. I know my dad does not want to bring in someone from outside. That means the only other option would be my brother. That is like handing the company to a thief. He will ruin it. But by then I will be gone. Anyway, I went back to work. Despite everything, my dad has been professional. He keeps business and personal issues separate. We even talked about it. He told me that no matter what happens at home, we cannot let it affect the company. I find it strange, but I am glad work is not another battlefield. It is confusing. Sometimes I look at him and think this is my father. I have known him all my life. I loved and respected him. How could he hurt us so badly? Other times I feel like I barely know him. It is a mess. I am doing my best to handle it. But I still believe the company will never be mine. That is why I am looking for other work. Or waiting to be fired. Whichever comes first. I am not naive enough to think he will pass the company to me. He is just acting professional for now. My mom is in mediation sessions with her lawyer, my dad and his lawyer. The good thing is she always chose to work even though she could have been a stay-at-home wife. She wanted her own money. That helps her now. I do not know how things are going exactly. Some days she is cheerful. Other days she locks herself away and stays in bed. I try to talk to her. I try to cheer her up. But sometimes I have to back off and give her space. She is reluctant to share details of the divorce. Once in a while she tells me something. Most of the time she is just depressed. I keep trying to convince her to go to therapy. I do not want to see her like this. It hurts me to even think about what she is going through. As for my grandmother, Nana still refuses to speak to anyone in the family. I know this because the same person who delivered her letter has told me. Apparently my family tried to visit her in person. She refused to even open the door. She has a housekeeper. The housekeeper made it clear that Nana gave strict orders. If she let any of us inside, she would be fired. She will not risk her job. That is new because in the past Nana always let us come in to talk. Even after fights. This time she must be truly angry. Of course my brother is drowning his problems in gambling. That means he is even deeper in debt. I tried to help him in the past. But you cannot help someone who refuses help. My mom is similar in a way because she also resists help. But I know she is just trying to process everything. One day she will open up. I will be there for her. My brother will not change. Too much time has passed. He loves gambling too much to stop. Update 2. It has been a month since my last update. Today my brother showed up at the apartment where my mom and I live. It was a surprise because we had no idea he even knew where we were. He said he begged our maternal grandparents for the address. They finally gave it to him. When he first showed up, I hesitated to let him in. Then he started crying, and I felt like I had no choice but to invite him inside before some neighbor called the police for animal abuse. Even once he was in, he didn't stop. He just kept crying and apologizing. Apologizing and crying. Over and over again. Once he calmed down a little, my mom and I asked what was really going on. It was so out of character for him. He isn't the type to cry. Even at his worst, he would beg, argue, or try to negotiate, but never cry. Honestly, I didn't think he was even capable of it. But apparently, this is the season for family revelations. Finally, once he managed to speak clearly, he told us that my dad had kicked him out of the house. He had racked up huge debts again, and with no one else to turn to, he tried asking Dad for help. As usual, Dad refused. He reminded my brother of what he had said all along, that just because my brother chose to stay with him during the divorce didn't mean anything. He knew my brother hadn't stayed out of loyalty but out of convenience. Dad wasn't going to thank him for that or bail him out. He had been clear from the beginning that if my brother kept gambling, he would be on his own. Dad wasn't about to waste his hard-earned money on someone determined to destroy himself. They argued, and in the end, Dad told him he was done. He wasn't going to let him live at home like a parasite, especially when he had the nerve to fight with the very father who had been supporting him all that time. As he explained all this, I couldn't hold back my anger anymore. I told him that for once, I completely agreed with Dad. That shocked him. I don't know why. He had to know there was truth in what Dad said. I broke it down for him. I told him that at his age, he hadn't even bothered to get a degree or find a job. He was gambling away everything Dad gave him instead of doing something useful with it. And he lived like a pig. Even though we had house staff, which is a privilege, his room always looked like a war zone. Always a mess. He was the laziest person I had ever known. He had no ambition, no goals, nothing. Just a habit of making his problems everyone else's responsibility. I told him he couldn't expect us to keep cleaning up his disasters while he refused to change or even admit that he was the problem. He wasn't a victim. That's when he started crying again. He said it was ridiculous. He claimed he had come to us looking for emotional support and maybe a little help, and instead I was judging him and making him feel worse. He kept looking at Mom, probably hoping she would step in or invite him to stay, but she stayed quiet. She didn't say a word. I guess the fact that he had chosen Dad's side during the divorce isn't something she can easily forgive. Yes, at the end of the day, he's my brother and her son. We love him in our own way. But loving someone doesn't mean tolerating all their nonsense, excusing everything they do, or pretending we're fine when we're not. So I told him straight. If he came here looking for help, he wouldn't find it. We were done. We wouldn't bail him out anymore. If he wanted advice on fixing his life and becoming a better person, maybe we'd talk. But if all he wanted was money to cover his debts, he needed to look elsewhere because he wasn't getting a dime from us. That's when he exploded. He cursed me out, called me every name he could think of, and stormed off. So much for trying to avoid the neighbors thinking we were mistreating an animal. And as much as I wanted to run after him and tell him even harsher truths, I didn't. It wasn't worth it. Arguing with a crazy person doesn't make you sane. It just drags you down to their level. Update 3. Hi everyone. It has been a year and a half since my last update, and a couple of weeks ago my mom's divorce was finally finalized. The process dragged on for a long time because the case ended up in court. It was tough on the whole family, and I am so relieved that it is finally over. In the end, she got exactly what she asked for in her petition. The ruling wasn't great, but my dad eventually gave up and agreed to a settlement outside of court because it was taking too long and he couldn't keep going like that anymore. As for my brother, after dad kicked him out, he spent a few weeks staying with friends while pestering relatives for money. I think eventually he went back to living with dad, maybe even getting some kind of support. I'm not sure. I haven't asked, and honestly, I don't care anymore. I could call dad and find out, but I don't feel the need. I haven't had any contact with my father since I finally found another job and quit the so-called family business. I knew that company was never going to be mine, so I decided to leave and do something else. And that decision has turned out to be a good one. My grandmother sold her majority share of the company, so now my father still works there but no longer runs it. He's been pushed into a different role. My grandmother basically said screw the business and screw the family and decided to live off the money she made from selling her share. Good for her, I guess, since she'll need it to keep paying the people who take care of her. At least it won't be me running to her side when her health declines. She's already sick, though not as bad as when it was my turn to look after her. Some people say I should forgive her, that she didn't know what was happening with my brother. But that misses the point. My brother's situation proves that she only cared about him. When my dad did something wrong, I didn't even expect her to punish him, just not to take his side. Apparently, her family being unfaithful didn't matter, but if I got betrayed, I was supposed to accept it. That was her message. And to be fair, my brother hasn't actually cheated, but only because he has no one in his life to cheat on. In the end, my mom got the house, but since it was too big for her, she sold it and kept the money. She has also accepted some help, which has done her a lot of good. She's not the same mom I remember from before the divorce, but she's no longer the woman who spent most of her time in bed either. Everyone has shown their true colors and received what they deserved. I'm not saying I'm happy that my grandmother will die alone or that my father lost control of most of the company and took a major pay cut, but it's not like they didn't bring it on themselves. Edit. My brother wasn't living with my dad after all. Good thing I never reached out to confirm, because dad probably doesn't even know where he is now either. My brother moved a few towns away and is living in a trailer park. From what I hear, he has sought some help and is working in a small factory to support himself. That actually makes me happy. Not because he is struggling, but because it means there's hope that in a few years I can honestly say, my brother turned his life around. There's still a long way to go, but at least it's a start.